Imagine if you could connect all your apps, automate repetitive works, and build powerful automations all without writing a single line of code. Well, that's exactly what n8n allows you to do. Basically, n8n is a workflow automation tool, and trust me, you can't afford not to know how to use n8n in 2025. In this video, I'll show you how to get started with n8n from scratch so you can stop wasting time on boring manual work and start automating things like a pro. So let's quickly get started. So this right here is the official website of n8n, n8n.io. And if you want to use n8n, you have a couple of options. The first option is that you can straight up head to n8n.io, sign up for a new account and start using it. But the problem about this particular method is that it is pricey. So you will have to spend like upwards of $20 or 20 euros per month just as to use the base plan of n8n. And now the thing about n8n is that n8n is actually an open source project. That means you have the option to self-host n8n and use it. So for example, in this case, if you were to use n8n directly from n8n.io, you will have to spend like $20 or 20 euros per month. But if you want to, you can download the open source version, self-host and start using it right away. So basically, n8n is a node-based workflow automation platform that allows you to build complex workflows and automations by connecting nodes. For example, here we have a basic example of as to how n8n works. So here we have a trigger node, here we have a AI agent, and the output is sent to a splitter, and based on the condition, that is whether it is true or false, the final action is to send a message to a Slack channel or update profile. So basically the idea here is that you will be able to add trigger nodes, workflow nodes, and all these nodes, and you can create workflows for nearly anything you can imagine. So that is basically the whole idea. And again, it can be a bit confusing at first, but trust me, by the end of this video, you will have a full clarity as to how n8n works and also how you can create your own first ever n8n automation or workflow. And now in this video specifically, I'm planning to self-host n8n in a VPS and then we can start using it right away. So as I mentioned earlier, you will have to spend like a lot of money if you were to use it directly from n8n.io. But in this case, I'm actually planning to use self-hosted n8n via Hostinger. So in this case, you will have to spend like what, 2,500 rupees per month, that too to use the basic version. And now if I head over to Hostinger and if I scroll down, as you can see, here we have n8n optimized self-hosting option starting from 399 rupees. So here you'll have to spend at least 2,000 rupees, but here you can get started from like what, 400 rupees per month. So for that reason, I'll be using Hostinger in today's video. And now if you do want to self-host n8n in the easiest way possible, all you gotta do is to click the first link in the description below and head over to Hostinger. And in this case, I'll move forward with, let's say, this plan right here for 549, which has like 2 vCPU cores, 8 GB RAM, 100 GB of NVMe disk space, and 8 TB of bandwidth. And again, every plan within Hostinger comes with unlimited workflows, unlimited concurrent executions, community nodes, all that. And again, if you head back to the original version, as you can see, we can only have 5 concurrent executions in this plan right here that costs like what, 2,000 rupees. So if you're looking for the most affordable way to use n8n, or let's say self-host and use n8n, Hostinger is the way to go. So in this case, I'll click on this option that says choose plan. Next up, you can configure the period for which you want to subscribe or let's say add the VPS. In this case, I'll keep it as 12 months and you can select a server location. So it would be the best to select a location that is closest to you. In this case, I'll keep it as India, and then again, select operating system. I'll keep it as n8n. And now yet another cool thing is that if you use the coupon code ASTRO, you will get extra 10% discount. For example, you could click on this button right here that says have a coupon code and you can enter the coupon that is ASTRO and click on apply. And there you go. Here you get 10% extra discount if you use this particular coupon. And now you can click on this continue button, sign up for a new account, and after that complete the payment. So here I have made the purchase and added the VPS via Hostinger. And next up, I need to select the location. Of course, I'll keep it as India. And again, if you're from the US, or let's say if you're from some other country, for example, let's say Singapore, Germany, wherever your location is, you will have to select the location that is closest to you so that you will have the lowest latency possible and everything will be super snappy and fast. And now I'll click on the next button. Next up, I need to choose an operating system, control panel, or application. So in this case, I'll select the application option and then scroll down and I'll select the option that says n8n because we want to self-host n8n, right? And again, the cool thing is that all you gotta do is to select the n8n option from here and click on the select option. And now Hostinger itself will configure the server, install n8n, and set up everything for you. All right, so you don't have to deal with any technicalities of self-hosting n8n. And again, next up, I'll have to create a root password. So here I have entered my root password. If you want to, you can also add an SSH key as well. Now I'll click on next. Okay, malware scanner is actually free. So I'll click on finish setup while keeping malware scanner selected. So let's wait. And now it says setting up your VPS, and within second, Hostinger will provision a VPS based on the plan that we selected, set up the server, and even set up n8n, and gives you the option to start using it right away. So that's how simple it is to self-host and use n8n. And again, if you want to, let's say, locally install it on your computer or manually self-host it in a VPS, you will have to play around with all these command line tools and everything else, and it is going to be super messy, especially if you're from the no-code background. That is where Hostinger comes into play, and it pretty much abstracts all the technical stuff and all the difficult part away. And in just a single click, we will have the self-hosted version of our n8n instance running up and live. So let's wait for it. All right, so there you go. It says, well done, you're ready. And our VPS is now fully set up. And now I'll click on this option that says manage VPS. And there you go. It says n8n, and it is built on Ubuntu 24.04. And believe it or not, our n8n is fully set up and I can start using it right away. And for that, I'll click on this option that says manage app, and it should open up our n8n instance. And for the very first time, when you open n8n, you will be shown a setup screen like this, where you need to enter your email, first name, last name, password, and create a new account. So in this case, I'll enter my details and let's say enter a random password and click on next. Okay. And okay, so let's put some dummy content in here. Click on get started. And now this right here is actually a very important one. So it says get paid features for free forever. So receive a free activation key for the advanced features below. So all you gotta do is to enter your email in here and click on this button right here, and it will give you a license key. And now you can add that to this particular instance and activate all these advanced features like workflow history, advanced debugging, execution searching, and tagging, and even folders. So I'll click on send me a free license key option. So it says your license key is on the way, and you will receive the same in your email. And now all you gotta do is to head over to settings, just like this. And after that, you can click on this option that says enter activation key and paste the activation key in here and click on the activate button, and you should be pretty much good to go. So I received my activation key and I'll paste the same in here and click on this activate button, and let's see. Okay, so it says license activated. And this right here is our self-hosted instance of n8n, and it is already live. And now you can start using it right away. And anytime you want to use your personal n8n instance, all you gotta do is to head over to this address right here. So you can even bookmark the same, or you can also head back to Hostinger and click on this manage app option and start using it. And the even cooler thing is that you can even add a custom domain and change this URL completely if you want to. Okay, so that's also one more option. And now if you're a beginner and if you have never tried n8n before, so n8n is actually a workflow automation tool. So as I mentioned earlier, so it is actually a node based one. So you connect node after node and you can pretty much automate nearly anything. And the good thing is that n8n has integrations with almost all the leading and popular apps that you can think of. Gmail, Google Drive, Asana, ClickUp, Google Sheets, Google Calendar, YouTube, Telegram, WhatsApp, you name it. n8n has connections, or let's say integrations with all of that. And now just to show you how this whole thing works and also how to quickly get started with n8n, I'll show how you can create a simple n8n workflow. So for that, I'll click on this option that says start from scratch. And after we create this initial version of the workflow, like a basic one, I'll also show you an interesting way, an official way where you can get access to thousands of n8n workflow automations completely for free. So you can use that n8n workflows and paste it directly within your instance and start using it right away. I'll also show you that later after this part. So whenever you are about to create an automation in n8n, it all starts with the first step, which is actually a trigger node. So you can find a plus button in here and it says add first step. And if I click on that button, it opens up a side panel like this and it says what triggers this workflow. And a trigger is a step that starts your workflow. So essentially there should be a way you can trigger and invoke a workflow, right? So that is basically the trigger. And almost all n8n workflows start with a trigger. So the first thing that you'll have to do is to add a trigger. And again, this right here is the workplace or the editor where you will be configuring and playing around with all the n8n workflows. So first of all, I'll click on this plus button. And here we have a couple of different types of triggers. For example, here we have trigger manually on an app event, run on a schedule, on webhook call, on form submission, when executed by another workflow, on chat message, when running evaluation, and we also have some other ways as well. For example, let's say you only want to invoke this workflow manually every time by clicking on this execute button. You can select this option. Or if you want this workflow to run as part of some event that has occurred on some other platform or let's say app, you can select this option right here that says on app event, and you can select the one from here and you can get going like that. Or if you want to, let's say, run this particular workflow every day at a specified time. For example, let's say I want to run this particular workflow every day at a specified time. For example, let's say every day at 9 a.m. I can select this option right here that says on a schedule. I can select the trigger interval as days. 1, and then I can select it as 9 a.m. Okay. And now if I save this one, what happens is that this particular workflow, so if I make this on, so as you can see, it says workflow activated. And now if this is turned on every day at 9 a.m., this particular workflow will get triggered and will get activated. And again, this right here is the trigger node, and you can also find a bolt icon in there. So in this case, we are actually not using a schedule based trigger. Instead, we are going to use a form submission. So every time a person fills in a form, we want to, let's say, trigger this workflow. So that is basically how we are planning to use this one. And for authentication, I'll keep it as none, and I need to give the form title. So in this case, just as to show you how things work, I want to create a workflow automation where a user can fill in a form. Okay, maybe they can enter a image URL or upload a image. And after that, when they click on a button, our automation will use OpenAI's API to analyze an image that the person has uploaded and then send a description to their Slack channel. And again, I'm not sure if it makes any sense, but I just want to show you how this whole thing works and also how we can easily integrate with third-party tools or let's say apps and platforms using n8n. So first thing first, so it says form title. So I'll give it something like, let's say, analyze images, and I can give a form description. For example, let's say, please enter an image URL that you would like to analyze using AI and get response in Slack. Maybe I can also put email. Okay, we'll decide that later. So this right here is the form description. Here we have form title. And after that, we can configure all these form elements in here. And now I'll click on this add form element option. So for the first field, let's say your name, and now element type is going to be text, and then placeholder, let's say John Doe. Required, yeah, let's make it required. And next up, we will need to collect the actual URL, right? So let's say, so initially I planned such that the user will be able to upload an image, but let's keep it simple. So we can actually give the image URL option, and the element type is again going to be, let's say, okay, text looks good, and I'll mark it as required as well. Or let's say if you want to, let's say, modify it such that the user will be able to, let's say, upload an image, you have options for that too. For example, I can select add form element just as to show you, let's say upload image, and as for the element type, you can select this option right here that says file. So user will be given the option to upload a file, and you can also specify the format of the files that you want to accept. Okay, so all of that looks good, and now I'll save it. Okay, so this right here is our trigger that is on form submission. So one important thing that you'll have to keep in mind is that almost all n8n workflows start with a trigger node, and in our case we have set it up as a on form submission. But again, as I mentioned earlier, you have a lot of different types of triggers like schedule, manual, app events, etc. So in this case, I have given it as on form submission. And now every time you open a node, for example, this right here is actually a trigger node. So maybe I'll explain about that in the next node. So in which ways, I'll click on this execute step option right here, and now it opens up a form. So this right here is the form that we created just now. We have the option to enter our name, image URL, and also an option to upload an image as well. So in this case, let's say I want to give the AI an image, and I want the AI to describe that image and then send back a response to Slack. So what I'll do is I'll put my name in here. So let's say Astro, and I'll grab an image URL real quick. So just for demo, this right here is the image that I'm planning to upload. So I have copied the link. So this is like a stock image from Pexels. So I'll paste the same in here. And again, we have also configured an option to upload image. So if you want to, you can actually drag and drop images to upload the same in here as well. So there you go. Here we have uploaded an image, and now I'll click on the submit option. So since it is a on form submission based trigger, what happens is that every time a user submits this particular form, a workflow will get triggered. So that is how we are basically planning to build the automation. And now I'll click on the submit option. It says form submitted, your response has been recorded. And again, as soon as we submitted the form, we can find the output in here. All right. So maybe I can, okay. So we actually uploaded an image, right? So we can find the uploaded image in here. And if I click on view option, there you go. This right here is the image that we uploaded from that form that opened up. And you also have a couple of options to visualize the output. For example, here we have schema, table, JSON, and binary. So in this case, I prefer to work with schema, but depending on your use case, you can select the table option, JSON option, whatever that is. And now in the output section, you can find all the fields that we had in our form. For example, we had a form field to enter the name. So you can find the output in here. Again, image URL, you can find that in here. And we also given the option to upload an image, and you can find that in here as well. Okay. And again, form mode and submitted ad is automatically added. Next up, let's just say I want to send this particular image to OpenAI API, and I want the AI to analyze the image and give me a response. Like I want the AI to describe the image. And now in this case, we only need this image URL. So maybe I can remove this file upload options. So here we have the file upload option, and I'll remove the same. And maybe I can execute the step once again. So right now we have removed the image upload option. So we only need to enter our name and the image URL. And now I'll click on submit. And again, the response is stored in here. And now you don't really have to actually upload the image every single time. When you're developing a workflow, you will have to execute a node several times, right? And for that, you can actually click on this pin icon towards the top right. So basically, when you click on this particular node, it says the data is pinned for text execution. So every time you run a particular node, you can find the output in the right side right here. And again, this output that you get on this node is going to be input for the next node, right? So in this case, I have pinned the data, and every time I run the workflow, it will actually use the data that has been already fetched. So every time I don't really have to run this one. So that is basically the idea. And next up, let's just say, so here we have the trigger node ready. And next up, if I click on this plus button, I can actually go ahead and add the next node. So here we have a lot of different options. For example, here we have AI, actions to do in an app, data transformation, flow, core, human in the loop. So if you want multiple triggers within your app, you have options for that too. So in this case, basically I want to, let's say, add OpenAI API. So I can basically search for it, and there you go. It says OpenAI chat model, and we also have OpenAI. And now just to explore all the different options that we have, I'll click on this option that says action in an app. And here you'll be able to find all these apps that you can connect to your n8n workflow for several different purposes in just a single click. We have LinkedIn, Mailgun, we have Kibana. I don't even know what is this. Okay, Intercom, HubSpot. Okay, we have Hacker News, Google Sheets, a lot of Google services, by the way. We have a lot of AWS related tools and all that. So in this case, I'm actually planning to use OpenAI API. So I can search for the same. I'll select OpenAI. And now here we have 15 actions. So in this case, we want to, let's say, analyze the image, right? So underneath image actions, I'll select image, that is analyze image. And after that, you have to grab your OpenAI API key and configure the credential in here. And again, as you saw, we had a trigger node, and the output of the trigger node was the data that we captured using the form. And here, when I opened up this particular node, that is the node that is connected right after the trigger node, you can find that we already have an input section in here. So basically the flow is that whenever you open a node, you will have the option to configure and set up the node towards the center, and towards the left side, you will have the output of the previous node, and towards the right side, you will have the output of the current node. So that is basically how it works. And since we already pinned the data for this particular node, when I open this particular node, I can find the data in here. Okay. So I'll need to get my OpenAI API key. And for that, I'll head over to platform.openai.com, and here I have already created an API key. So I'll simply copy the same. So in your case, you can just head over to platform.openai.com, click on this create new secret key option and create a new key. And now I'll head back and click on this option that says select credentials and click on create, and I'll paste my OpenAI API key in here. Okay, all of that looks good. And maybe, okay, that looks good. I'll click on save. So basically, whenever you're interacting with a third-party service, API or app, you will need some sort of authentication mechanism, right? It could be an access token, API key, or direct OAuth connection. So you will find an option to connect. In this case, I actually passed in my OpenAI API key. And the resource type is going to be image, operation is analyze image, and I need to select a model. So you can actually select and find the model that you want to use. So in this case, let's keep it as GPT-4o latest. So if you want to, let's say, use GPT-5, the latest models or any future model, you can search for it in here. And next up, we have a field that says text input, and it says what's in this image. I can just go ahead and make it a little bit more elaborative. I want you to analyze this image and give me a description as to what you see in this image. Okay, just to give some directions to the AI. And now as for input type, we have a couple of options. So here we have image URLs and binary files. So in this case, we are accepting a image URL from the user. So here we have image URL. So in case, let's say you ask the user to directly upload the image, you can select this option that is binary files and you can drag and drop it in here. So in this case, we're actually using image URL. So I can select the same. And next step, you need to enter the URL in here. And the thing is that the automation that we're about to create is going to be dynamic. So every person will have a different image URL to analyze, and we want to dynamically update this URL field right here. So this is where things get interesting. So every time a person uploads a image, or let's say adds a image URL, this form data right here will get updated, right? And again, the image URL is being stored in this particular column, that is image URL. And now to add that as an input to this URLs field, all I gotta do is to drag and drop the same and drop it in here. That is URL, and that's it. It's completed. So every time a user uploads an image in that particular form, or let's say enter the URL of an image in the form, initial form, it will automatically capture the image URL and pass it as an input to the OpenAI API. It's that simple. And now just as to make sure it actually works, I'll click on this execute step option and let's see. So hopefully we should be able to see the output in here in a few moments. So it says executing node. So there you go. It says this image feature a stunning night view of a modern city skyline, most likely Shanghai, China. All right. And again, this right here is the actual image that we uploaded. Okay, really cool, right? So our OpenAI node is also working, and we can find the output of this particular node in here. Here we have schema, table, and JSON format. And again, if you want to pin this data, of course, you can click on this button right here. And now this data is pinned. So this is the basic workflow. So basically you will have the output of the previous node in this section right here as the input to this current node. And you can configure the current node in this section right here. And you can find the output of the current node towards this section right here. So this is basically the overall structure of editing, or let's say configuring any new node. And if you want to, you can further customize. And again, depending on the node that you selected, the content and the configuration and pretty much everything will change depending on the node that you selected. And now I can close the same. So right now we have a on form submission that is a trigger event, and we also have a node that will analyze the image. And next up, let's just say you want to send a message in WhatsApp, Telegram, send an email, or send a Slack message, or whatever that you want to do. You can go ahead and add a new node. So I hope you get the gist of it, right? So you create actions after actions, or you add nodes after node. So every time, okay, so this has happened. What next? Okay, I need to get the data from an API. I add that node. And after I get the data, or let's say data from the API, I need to process it using AI. So I add a OpenAI API. And after getting the data from OpenAI, let's say I want to enter the data into a Google Sheet. So I add a Google Sheet node. And next up, let's just say I want to send an email. I add a Gmail node. So the flow continues. You can actually keep building and adding nodes after nodes. Next up, let's just say, okay, so in this case, I'm actually planning such that we want to send this image analysis result to a Slack channel as a Slack message. And for that, all I gotta do is to click on this plus button right here. And again, we also have several different types of nodes in here. For example, if you want to transform, or let's say manipulate the data that you get in here, you can actually add this data transformation nodes in here. For example, here we have code, date and time, edit field, filter, limit, remove duplicate, split out, aggregate, merge. So if you have, let's say, multiple outputs, and if you want to merge all of that, or let's say aggregate it, or let's say filter it, you have options for all that. And again, let's say if you want to add a if, or let's say if condition, that is yes or no condition, you can actually click on this option right here that says flow, and you can add this if node. So if a condition is met, I want to execute this branch, or if condition is not met, I want to execute a different branch. Well, you have options for all that. And again, you can explore all of that by yourself. Now, in this case, I want to send a message in Slack. So I can select, search for Slack in here. So there you go. Here we have Slack. And now I'll click on the same. And here we have around 42 actions for Slack. All right. So create a channel, get a channel, open a channel, get a file, message option. So basically I want to send a message. So I'll select this option that says send a message. And now, as you can see here, we already have the output of the previous node as input for this particular node. And I can already find that in here. And again, we actually pinned the data. So it actually stays in here. And next up, again, you have to connect your Slack account to this particular workflow, right? And for that, you'll have to click on this option that says credential to connect with. And now I'll click on this option that says create new credential. And here we have two options, that is access token and OAuth 2. So yeah, depending on what you want to use, you can select either of these. And in this case, let's say I want to follow the access token method. And if you don't know how to get access token and signature secret, you can click on this open docs option right here. You can find full details in here. So in this case, we actually need an access token. So, okay, using API access token. So you need to visit your Slack API apps, create a new app, enter the app name, workspace, create app features, auth permissions. Okay, so it seems like we have quite a lot of things that we have to do in this case. Or, okay, if you're using self-hosted n8n, okay, I guess this will be a better option, right? All right, so I'm going to actually follow the OAuth 2 option right here. And for that, first of all, I'll have to open your API, that is API apps page. Okay, here we have it. And next up, I'll click on this option that says create a new app, and I'll click on the option that says from scratch. And let's say n8n workspace will be Astro KJ, of course. And now I'll click on this create app. And again, even I'm doing this for the first time. I'm basically following the steps that is outlined in here. And now, okay, app name, workspace, all of that is done. And next up, I need to go to settings, basic information, open app credentials. Okay. Okay, settings, basic information. And after that, I need to copy the client ID and the client secret and paste it into the corresponding fields in n8n. So if I select OAuth 2, here we have client ID and client secret. So I need to find both of them. So I can find the client ID in here. So I'll copy the same, head back to n8n, paste that up in here. Next up, client secret. Okay, here we have it. I'll click on show and copy the same and paste it in here. Allow HTTP requested domains. Okay, all of that looks good. And next up, I need to, okay. And next up in the left menu under features, select OAuth and permissions. And in the redirect URL section, add the new redirect URL. Okay, so here if I come back to n8n, I can find a OAuth redirect URL. So I need to copy the same. And after that, I can head back to Slack, and under features, I should find, let's say OAuth and permissions, I believe. Is that it? Okay, OAuth and permissions. And okay, I can scroll down. There you go. Here we have redirect URLs. I'll click on this add new URL and paste the same in here. Click on add and click on save URLs. Okay, it says success. Next up in the scope section, select appropriate scopes for your app and refer to scopes for a list of scopes. After you have added scopes, go to OAuth token section and select install to workspace. And next up, I need to add the scopes. So maybe I can click on OAuth scope. And now, okay, here we have a lot of options. Oh my God. Okay. Administer a workspace. So that will pretty much have all the needed, scopes is what I believe. Maybe let's say message, send message. Yeah, that's also one more thing. Okay. And now if you want to find the full list, you can click on the scopes button and you can read all that information in here. Okay. So in which ways that part is now done. And if I head back to n8n and if I click on this option that says connect my account. Okay. So it seems like we have made a mistake. So we actually need to add scopes for boats as well. Okay. Okay. Boat. And now I'll click on write. So here we have added a couple of scopes for boats. And now if I click on connect my account, it should hopefully go through. So yeah, there you go. n8n is requesting permission to access. I'll click on allow. Okay, so it says connection successful, and now I can close the same. And again, the account is connected, so I can close the same. And the resource is going to be message, operation is going to be send, and send message to, let's say, a channel. And here you'll be able to find all the channels that you have within your account. And right now I'm planning to send a message to the demo channel that I have in Slack. So let me quickly open it up. So this right here is a demo channel that I created in Slack just as to show you how this thing works. Maybe I can move it to this side right here. And after that, symbol, okay, text message looks good. And now I directly want to send whatever content that OpenAI gives me. So I can simply drag and drop this content into here. Okay, so that part is also added. So every time you have some content that you want to give as input to this particular node, which is actually an output of the previous node, you can simply drag and drop it in here. And now that part is also done. And now if I click on this execute step button, let's see, it says node executed successfully. And if I head back to Slack, there you go, we can find the information in here. So basically just like that, we have our n8n automation live and ready. So every time we execute this particular workflow, the user will be given the option to, let's say, upload an image, and our OpenAI API will analyze the image and automatically send a message to Slack. So this right here is the first one. And next up, let's just say, okay, I'll first of all remove all this pinned data. So we want fresh data. Okay, and now I can save the same, and maybe I can just refresh the page once. And let me go ahead and find a new image real quick. So here I have opened up Pexels, and let me search for puppy and click enter. And now I'll copy an image of a random puppy. For example, let's say this one right here. I'll right click and click on copy image link. And now I can head back to n8n. So this is basically a 3-node n8n workflow. And I'll click on this button that says execute workflow, and it opens up a form. I can enter my name in here, image URL, click on submit, and okay, so the nodes are in action. It is now using the OpenAI API to analyze the image. And again, we don't really have any message yet, but wait for it. So there you go, it has sent a message and it says workflow executed successfully. And now if I head back to Slack, there you go, here we have the second message, and it says in the image there is an adorable puppy sitting on a grassy lawn. The puppy appears to be a young Australian Shepherd or similar breed. There you go, that's it. So as you saw, this is how simple it is. So basically we created a n8n workflow where a user can grab a URL and paste that in a input form. So that is basically the trigger. And then we process that using AI and send a message to Slack. So this is the overall structure of pretty much every single, let's say, automation within n8n. So first will be a trigger node. So in this case, it is going to be a form, and we are going to do some processing, right? So in this case, we are using OpenAI, but it could be a series of multiple nodes connected together. So in this case, it's a simple one, OpenAI. And the final node is send a message from Slack node, and that's it. That's how simple it is. And now I just wanted to show you how to use n8n as a beginner. So I hope you get the gist of it. And now you can extend and keep adding nodes after nodes, and you can add unlimited nodes to create highly complex apps. You can add, flow, you can add conditional flow, APIs, and do whatever you want to. So this is the overall flow of creating a workflow using n8n. And now another cool thing is that if you head over to n8n's official website, and if you go to this section right here that says templates, you'll be able to get access to 5,556 workflow templates that you can start using for free. I mean, of course, not every single one of these is not going to be free, but you can find quite a lot of them that are completely free. For example, let's say here we have one called as, let's say, okay, chat with a database using AI. So I can open the same, and it says it is actually free. So it says use for free, and here we can find a preview. And now if I click on this use for free button right here, it gives me an option to copy the template to a clipboard. So I can click on the same. So it is copied. Now I can head back to n8n and I'll click on overview, and I'll create a new workflow by clicking on this button right here. And now if I simply hit Command V or Control V, there you go. We have pasted that particular workflow. And all you gotta do is to click on one of these and just connect your credentials, and you can connect your Postgres SQL, let's say a database, and you have that in there. So in a similar fashion, you can go ahead and explore all these templates that are currently available in the workflows page right within n8n, or any community edition of templates in JSON format. You can simply copy the same, head back to your n8n instance, paste the same in here, and you can actually start using it right away. So that is how simple it is. So if you don't want to create one from scratch, if you can get access to a JSON file, or let's say the template, you can actually paste and start using it as well. So this is pretty much everything that I wanted to show you in this video. So I hope you guys understand how to get started with n8n and how to use the same. So basically it all starts with a trigger, then we do some processing, and then we will have an output. So this is the overall flow of creating let's say workflow. And now you can, depending on exactly what you want to do, the complexity, the apps involved, APIs, conditional logics and all that, you can keep building and add nodes after node. And again, if you're looking for the easiest way to self-host n8n, all you gotta do is to click the first link in the description below and head over to Hostinger, and you can select a server of choice and install and set up n8n in just a single click. And also don't forget to use the coupon that is Astro to get extra 10% discount as well. And now that's pretty much all I wanted to show you in this video. I hope you guys found this video useful. If yes, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.